Tuesday, February 22nd. It's 2022-02-22. I don't even know what they're calling that, but I know it's all fancy because of the way the numbers come together. So thanks for joining me. Sorry to be a minute or so late. I just wrapped up a class, and I'm really hoping we're not going to get the video pausing or anything, because it is rendering my or converting my meeting with my class for those who couldn't attend. So this is my project. If someone can pop in and give me a comment, let me know if you're seeing this okay. That would be awesome. This is a mini scrapbook album that you can make. I'm going to post all the measurements afterwards, but I'm going to show you how I pulled it together. So don't ask for all the measurements right now. I will post that with a link so that you can access that. But isn't this darling? It's a project I did with my community living group. So this is a group of folks who have a day program up in Elmira. I've been with them, I don't know even how long, 7, 8 years, I don't know. And we get together monthly, usually in person, lately over Zoom for the last 2 years, and they put projects together. So I do a lot of the prep work for them, and their adhesive of choice is dimensionals. So I usually do things that allow them to adhere to the projects with dimensionals. So I don't see anybody out there. I hope you can. Oh, 2 viewers lurking. Let me know you're here. Okay, give me a comment so I know that I'm reaching you. Okay, so let me show you the project, and then I'm going to show you the steps to make it. So it opens up like this. This is our mini paper pumpkin boxes, and then it folds out like this. Like that, and then these pieces here, they have little tabs or bookmarks, and then the back side also is decorated. So usually when I do these projects, I put, hi Vicki, oh I'm glad you can see, that's great. Thank you for letting me know. Usually when I do these projects for community living, I put the dimensionals on all of the paper products, and then they peel the backings off and stick them in place. But I wanted to give them the opportunity to have whichever side of the paper showing up. And so for the first time ever, I did the dimensionals in a different way, and I just thought that was lots of fun. It was a nice way to do it for them. So that's why I have the edges. You can see the edges are raised a little bit. The paper is raised a little bit because they're using dimensionals to put it on. So let me show you how I got started. First off, you need a mini paper pumpkin box. We sell these 10 in a pack. I think they're $10. They have a shiny side or a matte size. It really doesn't matter. Although I can say that I found that the shiny side paper doesn't, or some adhesives don't stick to it quite as well. So you just fold these guys up, just like, you know, if you ever worked in an office and you had to put those bankers boxes together, it's the same thing. Okay, so you just fold your edges up, put your tabs in, and over they go. So I did the boxes for them because that was going to otherwise be a bit much for them to do. So even with a helper. And I want my people to be happy when they're doing the projects. I don't want them to be stressed at all because it should be fun. So, and it gave them something to put all the supplies in for them. All right. The next thing we needed was the fold-out pieces. So I said I would give you all the measurements afterwards, but you can probably write them down from here. You need 3 pieces. One is 8 by 5.5. And you score it along the 8-inch side at 1/2, 4, and 7.5. I'll stick those over there. Whoops, lights went out. Hang on. Need a little more light on the subject. Then you need 2 pieces that are 5.5 by 7, and you score them in the middle at 3.5. So 5.5 by 7, score in the middle at 3.5. And that's what makes the fold out. I wanted to find a way to have the least amount of waste and have this fold out nicely and go together easily for me because I was putting these pieces together. So you want to fold on all your score lines. So on the big panels, you're going to fold in the middle, and these small tabs, you're going to fold back. All right, so that's kind of the shape that you end up with. Those little tabs folding back, and this going here, mountain and valley. And you guessed it, these are going to go on like this and like this. I wanted this to be the simplest design possible. Okay, so it has 2 tabs to glue it together. So on those 2 flaps, I'm going to put some tear and tape. Oops. And this is a part that I assemble for them. Because once again, it's all about the decorating, and that's what they get to do. I'm not going to show you how to fully decorate it all, but I'm going to show you how to put it together and how to cut the paper. All right, so then we take the tear and tape off the tabs. Hi, Debbie. Oh no, yeah, for sure watch the replay. And then you're going to, this is your little flap, okay, so you've got your piece. This is your larger piece. This is your 8-inch piece. Fold it in half at the score line, and you've got your little tabs. Actually, if you hold it this way, I think that really helps to see. The shiny part you see is the tear and tape, and then you take your other piece that's 5.5 by 7 scored in half, and you add 1 to one side, and in a tent like this you add 1 to the other side. So I put about 15 of these together. I got good at it after a while. And whoops! And what you end up with is an accordion. Okay? That's what you're going for. That's the fold out piece. So it's just back and forth mountain and valley folds, if that's the terminology you're familiar with from crafting. And I just used a bone folder to help the creases work a little bit better. Okay, so there's my fold out piece. This is going to sit on the inside of my box so that it folds out like that. So when you've got it all in its accordion, you're going to put one edge in here. So I glued that in for them as well. So I'm going to actually put tear and tape on there to hold that piece nicely in place. So if you ever want to do this for kids or even maybe seniors who have some dexterity challenges or whatever the case may be, you can do some of this work for them. So there's my sticky side. That's going into the box. Does it have to be perfect? No, it does not. It just needs to fit inside the box. All right. That's our box. It folds out, and you end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels on the front side, and 1, 2, oops, pull it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels on the back side. So that is the nuts and bolts of making it. Now I'm going to show you how to cut the paper to maximize your paper to do the inside. So it really was a piece of 12 by 12. There's my notes. A piece of 12 by 12 that I cut that got all of the pattern papers that you see here, plus a few pieces of cardstock. So that's a sample I made just in case this cutting goes awry. So what you want to do, it's 12 by 12, you want to cut one spot first. So you want to cut, it's going to end up being 9 3/4 wide by 10 1/2 long. So you want to cut the 9 3/4 first. Is that right? Let me pull this out. No, I want to cut the 10 1/2 first. Sorry. So if you have directional paper, this matters. If your paper is not directional, this doesn't matter. So one edge is going to be 10 1/2. So I'm going to line this up with my trimmer at 10 1/2. I'm going to cut that piece off. Do not throw this away. This is a very handy piece. Then you're going to turn it this way. It's 12 by 10 and a half. You're going to cut it down to 9 3/4. Doesn't matter if you cut the right or the left off unless your paper is super directional and you want to worry about that, and I'd pick a different piece of paper. Alrighty, your piece is now 9 3/4 by 10 and a half. Out of this, we are going to get 6 equal panels. So we're going to cut at 3 1/4, and then 3 1/4 again. So this is what you've cut. 3 pieces of 3 1/4 wide. You're going to turn all 3 pieces this way. You can line them up, actually, do them all at the same time. And you're going to cut at 5 1/4. Why this magical measurement, shall I tell you? Because that's the size of the panels on your fold out. So you've got 6 panels. We already went through that there are 11 panels in total in this project, in the fold out. So we've got 6. We need 5 more. So rather than cut into another piece of pattern paper and have it be really all the same look, I decided to go with some paper, some cardstock layers. So these cardstock, you need 5 of them that are 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. They match those other pieces over there. So I cut these. This is mint macaron. It's one of the colors in the paper, so it kind of pulls it together nicely. So now I've got 5 cardstocks and 6 designer series paper. 11 panels. I'm going to look up and see if there are any comments. So far, so good. Everyone's on board. Awesome. All right, those pieces I told you to keep, here they are here. The piece that measures 12 by, no, I want this piece first, sorry. The piece that measures 2 1/4 long, we want to cut 2 3 1/4 inch pieces off. I'm having a feeling this isn't going to cut right. Am I missing a piece? I think I should have cut that piece first. 3 1/4. Oh no. Oh no, we're good. So it's 2 1/4 inches wide, and we're going to cut it at 3 1/4 inches, 3 1/4 inches, and one more at 3 1/4 inches. We need these pieces to do our decorating with. It helps if they're not directional, or you can flip them over and use the other sides, which is what I'm going to do. You got this little piece left, hang on to it. This longer strip, it's 12 inches by 1 1/2. What you're going to do, this is going to make the outside box edges. You're going to cut it at 8 1/2. I'm sorry, 5 1/4 first. Cut it at 5 1/4 first. And then we're going to cut it this way in half, which is 3/4 of an inch. Ba-ba-da-da. So these are 2 panels for the box. This panel on the front, this panel on the back. And the piece that you have left, you're going to cut it at 3 1/4. And that's going to make the side panels, because that's what they measure. They measure, sorry, 3 1/2. What am I saying? 3 1/4. 3 1/2. Is it going to do? Yes, 3 1/2. I wrote down 3 1/4, but it's 3 1/2. And then we're going to cut those in half. Da 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 da. There's our other panels for the outside edges. Okay. And then we have a few odds and sods left over. We are using just about every scrap of this, let me tell you. We need some pieces that are 1 1/2 by 2 1/4, 2 pieces of 2 by 3 1/4. So they are 1.5 that way. So I need to cut them at 2 inches, and then in half at 3/4 of an inch. And then we're going to cut this one off at 2 inches. It's already 3/4 of an inch wide. It's like magic, people. All right, and we have 3 pieces here that are going to help us decorate. Okay, I know that's a lot of measuring. That's a lot of stuff. I'm going to write down the measurements for you. All right, back to our box, which I've tucked over here. I'm going to show you how I put this guy together. First off, let's decorate the inside panels. So flashback to a few minutes ago, we have our 6 pieces of pattern paper, each of which is 3 1/4 inches wide by 5 1/4 inches long. I'm going to open the box. We're going to pull our little mechanism out. Now, if you were doing this yourself, I probably wouldn't glue it in before I put the pieces down, but when I did this with my community living group, I wanted them to be able to work with this. So I put the dimensionals on these pieces, and then that way they could choose which side of the pattern paper they wanted sitting up. So I know for me, I'm going to want to put this is the one for me. I'm going to want the pretty pattern paper. And it fits in here like a card layer. It's just got a little wee layer about it. You kind of have to turn this one this way to get this piece in. So let's add some adhesive. So I wanted to lay these out in such a way that I would have pattern paper on both sides. So I have one in there, and then I'm going to put 3. See what I'm doing here? I'm just kind of laying them out on where they're going to go, so that when I flip it over, I have enough of each pattern to do the other side, to alternate the patterns. That's going to go on the back side. Okay, follow me so far? Hope so. So like I said, you have to kind of lift this one up on its edge in order to get this guy in. There we go. And then we're good to go for the rest of them. I'm going to use the really pretty floral images. I love this paper. I wish we could keep this paper in the line. I know it's a celebration freebie, but honestly, it is so pretty. And then I'm going to decorate these a little bit further. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this one. I had plans for the other ones that I made. It's a nice sample, but I would like to give it to somebody. It's a cute little idea from a Mother's Day present, a teacher present, a lovely hostess gift, a thank you. And once you've done a few of them, it really doesn't take as long as you think it will. Okay, so there's our layers glued down. So alternating with the colors. Then if I flip this over, I'm going to do the same thing. So on this side I have the cardstock. I'm going to go pattern paper, cardstock, pattern, cardstock, pattern, just like that. You just want to make sure, I think if it's directional, you want to make sure that it's always going in the same direction. So choose a pattern that isn't directional. That would be my suggestion. The other thing you can do on these cardstock ones to jazz them up a little bit is you can emboss them if you want. I didn't get to that level, but that's something you could do as well. And this guy here, and then my cardstock layer. Think of all the extra bits of pattern paper, like it's one sheet of 12 by 12. And you could probably find a way to do this with 6 by 6 too. I didn't get the math going on that, but 12 by 12 just made really good use of slicing and dicing the paper up. Okay, so there's the back panel, and there's the front panel. Doesn't that look pretty? All right, so let me show you how I decorated the outside, and then I'll show you a little bit about the inside options as well, because you can do whatever you want from there, but I had done some extra pieces so that they would have something fun to work with. So to put this on the front measurement would be 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. That goes on the front of the box. And this is just an embossed piece with our greenery die, which isn't really a die. It cuts through with all the little dots, right? And it cuts through, but it doesn't cut through the pieces apart. So you can put adhesive on the back of this. This is an expensive die, but honestly, I really do get my money's worth out of it. It's one that I will use over and over again. Okay, so there's that on the front. This mint macaron is pretty. And then in this one I'm doing here, I'm just going to put a butterfly on, but I did a layered one here with the folks in community living using the iconic dies, which I had not been using, and we just put these different pieces on to make this a two-tone color toadstool. You just cut two, one in crumb cake, one in poppy parade, and then cut this little piece off, and that makes it two-tone color. But for this one here, I'm just going to, oh yes, I didn't want to forget my very pretty scallop piece. This is a stitched scalloped rectangle. The contours dies, and then this butterfly is from Butterfly Wings, and I put my adhesive sheets on it before I cut it out, so I didn't have to fussy put glue all over the place. If you've never tried our adhesive sheets before you die cut, I highly recommend the investment. It's $13, $13.95, something like that, for a package of 12 sheets, and you will never go back. It is so easy. There's no messing with glue. It is simple, simple, simple. All right, so there it is. That's that piece on there, and I probably would put something on his wings. You know, I would dress him up a little bit. But then the other part of this is the outside edges. So with the pattern paper being double-sided, you could go either way. I'm going to continue with this pattern, floral pattern side. So you've got two long pieces that we cut. One on the front edge, one on the back edge. And I really feel like this paper has an up and down, but you're not really going to notice it when it comes to this small piece that we've cut here. And the two ends, because really you can't tell, the flowers are so nice and big. And for my folks in community living, I had put the dimensionals on the box. They looked like they had the chicken pox or something, had all these little dimensionals on them, and then they could choose which side of paper they wanted to put up. And put my last piece on here. So it's not a flowing pattern, but it works just beautifully. And that's the same color that's in here. And then what I did to jazz these up a little bit, we had cut some of this out of the patterned paper. And my plan was to make some little pockets. Doesn't that go nicely together? So I'm going to put some pockets here. So I don't want to glue it entirely down. I just want to glue on the two edges and one bottom so that it makes a pocket and doesn't seal it up. Just like this. And I got a little pocket in here, like that, see? In that pocket, I'm going to put some of these tags. So these tags are just basic white. They were 4 1/4 inch tall by 2 inches wide, fit right nicely into my punch. And look at that. Aren't they cute? But they're boring. They need some color. So some of the other pieces we had cut that were 2 by 3/4 of an inch are like this. So these are gonna be little messages inside my scrapbook with the color paper. Oh my gosh, this looks so cute. So once again, I'm gonna make another pocket. Like this. And then another one of these tabs. And I'm going to put this paper showing. This is 3/4 of an inch by 2. Am I going to worry that it's not even with the other one? Probably not. Here we go. Now you could add a little bit of ribbon or something thin to help pull those out. I'm going to put my third one on this panel. I didn't do that with the others. I did 2 on one side and 1 on the other, but I'm going to put this on this side here. Hi, buddy. It's my crafting buddy, Riley. And then I've got this piece here to go on my third tab. Vocals continue, but pictures still when you're adding adhesive. Oh, shoot. Well, that stinks. I'm glad you can hear me. And I'm sorry that on that end it's not working. Maybe the replay will catch up and be okay. So I will show it. Well, the very beginning you'll see for sure. You'll see how it all came together. But that is this project. Very cute, very simple, but makes a lovely gift to give to anybody. So thank you so much for watching and hanging in there with me. I will see you next week. Have a lovely week and stay warm and dry. Bye.